So going into our next topic, me and Sam are going to look back at arguably the first super team to ever be assembled, and that was the 2008 Lakers. Me and Sam are going to
Oh,
be talking about whether the 2008 Lakers were a bust or not a bust.
Celtics, you mean, right? Celtics.
Celtics. Wow, I'm sorry, Celtics. The 2008 Celtics.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I've had like many arguments with people about if this team was a bust or not.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, so straight up right off the bat, do you think they're a bust or not?
I think they were a bust. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think they're a bust, actually. So this should be interesting. Let's hear your thoughts.
All right. Well, I think they traded like their whole roster for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. So for Kevin Garnett, they traded Al Jefferson, Ryan Gomes, Sebastian Telfair, Gerald Green, and Theo Ratliff. And then for Ray Allen, they traded Delonte West, Wally Szczerbiak, and what would have been Jeff Green. So in the Ray Allen trade, they also got the pick that would become Glenn Davis.
Yep.
So they're trading. They needed they preference. They didn't make the playoffs for years before that. They got these two players, but they traded their whole roster for two of the best players in the league. But they built this team to win multiple championships, and they went to two, but they only won one. That's why I think it's a bust. They weren't hoping to win one championship like you saw, like a one. It can be a one-hit wonder win a championship, like the Raptors from last year. Like that, I feel that team. They knew Kawhi probably wasn't going to re-sign, so they built that team to win one championship. Really.
Yeah.
But,
So
but this Celtics team was built to win multiple championships. That's why I think they're a little bit of a bust.
that's true. I mean, I think every team and every super team really is built to win multiple championships. It doesn't always end up that way, but I think first off, you touch upon the assets which they sold away for these big players. I mean, none of those players became anything really. None of those players were even top 10 players at their position at their peak. I know Danny Ainge really, really, really wanted Kevin Durant in the draft. And after they got, I think, the fifth pick or so, which did turn into Jeff Green, I think after that he said, yeah, let's flip this pick. Similar to what the Lakers did for Anthony Davis. But yeah, I just think that the thing is Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and even Paul Pierce, they were in their 30s, all of them, and it's not like the Miami super team where they're all dead smack in their primes. I know Wade was kind of deteriorating a little bit, but I think Allen and Kevin Garnett, their championship ceiling wasn't really too high anyways. These players didn't have a lot of playoff experience. So I think the fact that they even got one championship out of it, considering the Lakers and Kobe Bryant were a very good team, and considering the Cavaliers and then later the Miami Heat were a very good team in their own conference, I think it was a win that they won one championship, honestly.
I mean, they weren't like when Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett went to the Celtics. They weren't that old. Like Garnett was 31, Ray Allen was like
Yeah.
I think 33. So
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like they were Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett when they went to the Nets a
Yeah.
couple years. Like they were way past their prime when they went to the Nets. But I just think that I don't know, that team those were like the premier players in the league, and they win one championship. They lose to the Magic,
Yeah.
Eastern Conference Finals with just like I know Dwight Howard was a freak at the time, but they still lost to him. Like I feel like they could have won that series against the Magic. Like their first season together, they won 60 games and they won the championship.
Yeah.
And then each year they progressively had a worse record.
Yeah, and I really think that is because of age and it's because of injuries, obviously. I know Paul Pierce continued to get injured, Kevin Garnett continued to get injured, and Rajon Rondo, he really took that team over. They really would not have won that one championship without Rondo. So that's why I say I think they're even lucky to win that one championship, because without Rondo, they don't win that championship. I think the dynamic of those three superstars, their games weren't that complementary to each other. So I think it was really important to have that pass first point guard that they did, and they didn't expect to have that player when building their team. Really, they didn't think Rondo was going to explode the way he did. But again, I think surrounding the circumstances, obviously you have a prime LeBron, who's going to be challenging you in the East every single playoff run. And they later teamed up. I don't think the Miami team was really built to beat the Celtics. I think LeBron and the Cavaliers could eventually beat the Celtics, but yeah, I mean, I just think it was a success that they won that one championship. None of them had won a championship before, and they only really needed one to cement their legacy. I know for Kevin Garnett, all he needed was one championship to cement his legacy as one of the best power forwards of all time. Paul Pierce needed one championship to solidify himself as a Hall of Famer. Ray Allen needed one championship to solidify himself as a Hall of Famer. Obviously, he went on to win another one with Miami, but I think one championship, obviously, it would be great to win multiple, but I don't really think that team was built to win multiple championships.
But even if they didn't have Rondo on that team, like you said, that Rondo helped like bring them to a next level. If they didn't have Rondo, they wouldn't even won that one championship.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think Danny Ainge might have put all of his cookies in one basket and tried to get these three superstars, or two superstars, because they already had Paul Pierce. But I think he was anxious because Boston, a historic good basketball team.
Yeah.
So I think they were trying to win a championship because they haven't won one for quite some time before that. So I think they were.
I think Danny Ainge always really has that win now mode mindset. I don't think he liked rebuilding for a long time. So when the team with Paul Pierce, a very talented borderline superstar in the league, they're winning 20, 30 games. I know the season before they won the championship, I believe they won 28 games. I know Paul Pierce did get injured for a large part of that season, but he kind of saw that and said, my superstar is unhappy. I need to get him help. So I think he did a great job at that. I think that's the thing. They didn't give up a lot of assets. I know they gave up a lot of players and they gave up a pick.
Yeah.
But you got to look at who those players are and what that pick turned into. And Jeff Green, he was a good player. He ended up playing for the Celtics, actually. And Delonte West, like those players aren't really big name, even third or fourth options on a team type players. So I really don't think they gave up too much for those two other superstars to pair with Pierce. So I think that super team for the Celtics, while obviously it wasn't wildly successful, I think it was a success. And I think same could be said about other super teams like the Heat. The Heat, obviously the famous not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8. They were expected to win at least 4 championships, and they only ended up winning 2. And I think in hindsight, they really should have won at least 3. But I think you can't say the Miami Heat were a failure in the same light that you can't say the Celtics were a failure. They did end up winning 1 championship. So.
Yeah, but the Celtics rode that wave out the Celtics organization rode the wave out until they were all aged. The Heat could have kept going, but LeBron left.
Yeah.
The super team could have lasted. Who knows if LeBron stays, how many more they would have won.
Yeah, LeBron saw the writing on the wall. He saw Wade, his health was deteriorating. He saw Bosh, his health was deteriorating. He saw, the Heat were the oldest roster in the league. You got Shane Battier, who's going to retire, Mike Miller, who's going to retire, Birdman, who's going to retire, Ray Allen, who's going to retire. He kind of saw the writing on the wall and said, I got to go somewhere else. because I really don't think the Miami Heat would have. I mean, they definitely would have retooled if LeBron signed another contract going into the 2015 season. But I don't know if LeBron is sitting up here with 3 championships right now if he stayed with the Heat, honestly.
Well, I think if he re-signed with the Heat, Pat Riley would have made moves to make him happy because it's LeBron. You're not going to put a like you got to have a great supporting cast around him. You're not going to have like sub like G League players around him.
Yeah. I think the 2008 Celtics are actually really, really similar to the 2015 to 2018 Cavaliers teams. Actually, not only by how those teams were brought about, but even the structure of the team. Now I know not Paul Pierce, but Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, they're both traded for. But I mean, with the Cavaliers, you have one really, really good player who is being wasted on a really bad team. Same with the Celtics. And that team went out and got 2 really, really good players to complement that player. Obviously, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love are complements to LeBron, not the other way around. And both teams ended up winning 1 championship, and both teams ended up being viewed, in my eyes at least, as a success. But yeah, I mean, if you go from 28 wins the last season to 60 plus wins in a championship, I think that's a success. And I think even more so why the Celtics super team was a success is because of the assets they got out of those players that they ended up trading for initially, because obviously that trade with the Nets, Danny Ainge saw the writing on the wall and said this team's championship window is over. I think they only had about 2 years of a championship window anyways. When those 2 years they did go to the finals, but they ended up flipping them for all those picks that ended up being Jason Tatum and all these really good building blocks that they have right now. So that's another reason why I think that super team was a success, because of what they got out of those players. Like the Miami super team, when LeBron left, that team was just kind of in ruins. And the rebuilded Miami Heat team you see now, that had nothing to do with the super team. But that Celtics team you see now is still very, very thanks to that super team they once had. Because without that super team, then we wouldn't even, I mean, Jason Tatum wouldn't be a Celtic, and all these players wouldn't be in position that the Celtics have right now.
I agree with that they were able to flip, like they were able to fleece the Nets.
Yeah.
Like the amount of draft picks they got. But I just think that team, I just think when you get that group of superstars together, you're not with the hopes of winning one championship. You're like, your eyes are on having multiple banners. Like,
yeah.
So I just think that if they were able to win, I think just one more, because I think two, like you said, with the Heat, they won 2. That is a successful team. But if they were able to win one more, I know they went to 2 finals, and then they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think 3 times. They lost to the Heat twice, and the Magic.
Yeah, I just think that first season with the super team with the Celtics, I mean, they're hitting on all cylinders. Pierce was healthy, Garnett was healthy, Allen was healthy, but I think with hindsight, we can kind of look and say that expectations for the Celtics were a little too high because, again, I know they're in their early 30s, but they're just coming off of injury-riddled seasons, and I think it would be fair to assume going into that super team that in the near future, if not this season, these players are going to start to deteriorate and they're going to start to get hurt. So I think the fact that they didn't even get hurt in their first season really together, I think is really good. And I think it wasn't like a shock that they ended up getting hurt and kind of fizzing out really quickly, honestly.